What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Media Mausoleum. I'm your host, Adrian Ferreira. Today, I am doing a solo deep dive into my latest project, The House on Willow Street. I've been getting a lot of questions about how this came together, from the near disasters to the final, fart joke. So let's get into the reflection. So the first question that I've been asked is, how did your production skills develop throughout this project? And I gotta say, looking back at day one, my skills were, let's say, raw. The biggest leap I made was in cinematography. Initially, I was just pointing at the iPhone and hitting record, but quickly I realized that in an abandoned house, the camera's auto settings are your enemy. I had to master some of the lighting issues with the phone. Um, I had to stop the sensor from hunting for focus in the dark by crushing the blacks and keeping the shadows deep and intentional. I learned how to use negative space to hide the horror elements. I went from being, you know, a student with the phone to a cinematographer who understands how to manipulate a sensor. On to the next question. Question two: how did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online into this project? To be honest, technology was the backbone of GTF Productions. Hardware wise, the iPhone allowed for handheld tracking style that felt like some of those exploration videos on YouTube that I was able to research. But the real magic, honestly, I found happened in CapCut. I didn't just use it for cuts. I used it for sound design. I layered three different audio tracks, some low frequency non diegetic drones for the horror, diegetic water sounds for the Enigma codes that are used in horror comedies, and then that perfectly timed comedic sound effect using keyframes in CapCut allowed me to zoom in on Jaden's skeptical. Sorry, I have a problem with that word. Skeptical face at the exact millisecond. The tone shifted from horror to parody. It proved that the software is where the genre is actually, made. On to the next question. Question three: how did the project's focus change from your initial ideas? This was the most stressful part, I'm going to be honest. We actually had a completely different, more complex plot originally, but halfway through, Jaden mentioned that, it was too ambitious. I think the word I should use for that is the horror wasn't scary and the comedy wasn't landing. We took a step back and we looked, and we made the executive decision to pivot. We stripped the narrative down to a single character, Jaden, and a single hook. This taught me that in film, less is more. We shifted our focus to meta horror, mocking the genre itself. And I believe if we hadn't changed direction, the film wouldn't have the unique, cynical Gen Z voice it has now. It allows us to cater to our audience that we're trying to target. And for our last question, we have is, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups? We use the iconography of horror, which is an abandoned house, the dark house, the stalker POV shots, but we use Jaden to challenge the victim stereotype. Usually, horror leads are panicked, but Jaden Torres, as shown in a certain part of our opening, the doors closed behind him, very uh paranormally. No, he didn't know someone was there, and he shrugged it off. And usually, these horror leads are panicked. Jaden Torres represents a desensitized generation. He's a Hispanic lead who isn't a stereotype. He's just a skeptical kid who's seen too many movies. By representing this too cool to be scared attitude, we're speaking directly to our target audience. We're saying, we know the tropes are fake, and we're going to laugh at them with you. To sign off, I have a couple more words to say after I've finished all my questions, and that's it for this deep dive, honestly. The house on Willow Street was a massive learning curve for me and the team at GTF Features. But I'm proud of the final curtain pool, and I thank you for listening to the Media Mausoleum. I'm Adrian Ferreira, and I'll catch you on the next one.